This is my entire knife collection, so let's take a look at them in chronological order, starting with the Eddie Bauer Victorinox Explorer. I must have gotten this thing when I was 12 or 13, so over 15 years ago, and it's just one of those classic Swiss Army knives. Got a little bit of wear and tear going on. I've chipped the scale just here, but what we're looking at is a pen knife, a smaller little pen knife there. One of the best sets of scissors on a multi-tool ever created. Those guys right there. Magnifying glass. A proper Phillips head that locks in two positions, so either at the 90-degree or 180 all the way out. And look how thick that is. The full Phillips on there. Classic can opener, little flat head on the end. Flat head or pry bar that also locks at the 90 and the 180 position. Wire strippers, I believe, that I've never actually used, and then a bottle opener. You also get the classic little tweezers, and I don't think I've ever replaced these. These are the original ones from 15 years ago, along with the toothpick here too. You also get a corkscrew on the back for opening wine bottles. You little hook that in their promo material, I think they have you picking up bales of hay, but that's not happening with this one. And then you get an awl and a reamer. So the awl being the needle, essentially, that you could put a piece of thread through there, and then you could stick it through some leather in order to make holes, or the reamer, which is this blade portion. You can see the shine there. It's an edge, and you could ream out a hole. So that's the Eddie Bauer Victorinox Explorer. A lot of fond memories, and now this lives in my car, not for any particular reason, just kind of has a good little variety of tools and kind of just sits in the center console these days. And then we have the Gerber clutch. Really love this little tool. Handy little set of pliers with the cutting edge in the mouth there. Never really know when you need to go in and grab something with more than just your hands. These can really get a hold on something, and you can yank or twist or do whatever you need to, and it collapses really, really small. So I would carry that around most days in my fifth pocket. Not so much anymore, but I used to a lot. And the other tools that you get are a fake Phillips is what I'm going to call this. They kind of tried to put a Phillips head on the end of this little piece of sheet metal. It does come in handy, but more for little flathead areas than for Phillips. You also get this flathead screwdriver, which you could also use as a pry bar if you need to. Bottle opener. A little flathead. And then probably the worst set of tweezers on a multi-tool that I've ever seen. These are borderline useless, but they are there just in case. And then you also get nail file on this side. Or the blade on this one. Handy to have around if you're just trying to cut open boxes, that kind of stuff. Or like I said, you got to reach in and grab something with some pliers. Really good little tool. This has been discontinued for a while. I think they probably should have kept it around. Around the same time, I got this SOG grade 12 grad camping, so 2013. It also came with a tomahawk and a machete. I don't know where the machete is, but I know the tomahawk is hanging in the garage, and I just use this as a beater camping knife or around the house if I really need to. This here is some silicone from a bathroom project, and you got a lock in the handle there. one hand opening, but really a knife that I can just kind of beat up if I want to, and I don't care too much about it. Not a whole lot to say about that one. This is one of my fancier knives that I would have got in 2017. It's a Ferrum Forge Falcon. It's got titanium scales, an S35VN steel blade. It was from Massdrop with Ferrum Forge. Like I said, it's the Falcon. Has a liner lock here. So I usually jam my thumb in and start to close it, and then I close it all the way like that. And you can open it one-handed, just a flicker like that. Really great action. Like I said, titanium scales, really nice steel for the blade, and really fun actuation. It has a great shape for my hand, at least. The 3 fingers that fit here, the 4th one in that notch, and then the 5th or the thumb on the top of the blade. I also like to hold it like that if I really need to get some good precision work going on. Really like this knife. I would carry that for a while in my 5th pocket, and you can see the wear on the titanium finish there on the pocket clip. But really fond of this one. But it doesn't get a whole lot of time anymore because it's almost too pretty to use, and I just find there's some more utility from some other blades. That one mostly stays in the office. Use it every once in a while. This is the Leatherman Wave. I got this as a gift from a partner of a competition that I was in called Skills, or at least World Skills, and I was in the Skills Canada version, so the national version. And we each got each other a Leatherman Wave as a reminder and a celebration of what we went through and all the training that we did. There's one hand actuation for the serrated blade there with a locking mechanism here. So I usually do the press down, start to close it, and then use my thumb to finish so I'm not closing on my thumb. And then there's a flat blade on this side, opens all the way like that, and close it again. And then you also get a saw on this side, same closing mechanism. And then you also get a metal file here, so fine grit on that side and a coarser grit on that one. And you also get the edges that are coarse grit and fine grit here. And you can also one hand open the pliers. It has replaceable teeth on the inside here for cutting, which is really nice. Full-size pliers, or mostly full-size pliers, so if you really need to grab onto something, not quite like these ones. If you need a heavier duty set of pliers, these are the way to go. And then you have all the interior tools in the handle also. So you get a flathead or a pry bar, depending on how you use it. You get a tiny little Phillips that's interchangeable with a tiny little flathead. You turn that around. Get a little set of scissors. And these are all locked with this little button here. You press and push them back in. And then the other handle here, we have a bit driver that uses the Leatherman bits. So I've got a Phillips that interchanges with a flathead. And again, the lock on the back. And then you get a can opener there. If I could choose to hold on to just one of the tools, it would probably be this one, just because it has so much utility. But I don't like carrying this around day to day, just because it is substantial. It is a bit heavier. It does have a carrying case if you wanted to strap it to your belt, but that's its own look if that's what you're going for. Really fond of that Leatherman Wave. When I got tired of carrying this around, I switched to this Victorinox A-Lox. So the A-Lox is their aluminum scaled version with this nice texture on the scale. Basically just a pen knife, so if you're opening boxes and that kind of stuff around the office or on the manufacturing floor, that kind of stuff. Nail file. 90-degree lock on the flathead or pry bar. This is really useful for opening up electrical panels for me. Just have that open, quarter turn, open up a panel. Pretty niche utility of the panel opening. And then it also opens all the way to 80 if you needed to, locking there. And then a classic can opener with a little flathead on the end. So nice little slim profile. You forget that it's in your fifth pocket in your jeans. And I just really like the finishing on that. The ALUX is a really nice touch compared to the original plastic scales. Then I included these Olfas in this. I have probably a handful, maybe even 6 of these kicking around. I got a couple in this office here. I have quite a few in the garage. And realistically, if you're breaking down boxes or opening boxes in any capacity, or you're at work, that kind of stuff, this is probably all you need, is a super basic Olfa box cutter or any other brand box cutter. But I'm particularly fond of these ones. I like these a lot. One blade has 8 segments. So once you're done with one and it's not sharp anymore, snap it off using some pliers or against a table, preferably if you're wearing some safety glasses. But basically you have unlimited sharp blade with these, especially if you go and get yourself a big pack of blades. You'll never have a dull edge. You'll always be able to have a fresh blade going if you need it. Dull blades can be more dangerous than the sharp ones because you try and push too hard and then you slip and kind of stab yourself or cut your hand open, that kind of stuff. And lastly, we have this Cabela's that I'm also going to call a beater knife. And I've been very mean to this knife. Using it as a throwing knife at one point in the garage, and yeah, also I've opened some stuff with the blunt end too. So it's nice to have a relatively inexpensive knife kicking around to just do the odd jobs that you wouldn't want to use one of your nicer blades for. So that's basically where this slots in. Just an absolute beater knife that I don't really care too much about. I hope you like that one. I will put links to what is still available in the description, and I will see you in the next one.